This is a classic blues and R&B podcast. Good afternoon, good morning, or whatever it may be for you, wherever you may be. You are here with us tonight, this morning, evening. Yeah, it is. It's morning out there on the East Coast. And it's still early out in the mountain in Pacific time zone and late in the afternoon over there in Hawaii. Hell, it's still early over there. And then down under, it's another day, another afternoon down there. Welcome to Classic Blues and R&B, folks. This is where you come to get your real American music. When you enter the Classic Blues and R&B Club, you know you're at the right juke joint. Here, you get your real blues, a healthy shot of soul, and your much-needed dose of R&B. We call that rhythm and blues where I'm from. Blues, beer, and barbecue is the real red, white, and blue of the American music, folks. Don't ever forget that. Your Magnolia man like to emphasize that because that's what it is. Once you get here at Classic Blues and R&B, you know you found the great call letters of WVON. The call letters with the heritage and legacy, WVON 1690 AM. We're coming to you from the middle part of North America, a place we call the United States of America. We took over the continent. Don't forget that. We call ourselves Americans. Our neighbors to the south is Mexico, and to the north is Canada. We're glad you could join us here for another weekend of entertainment here at WVON 1690 AM. Here in the South Loop is what they call this area, South Loop. South Loop. We're always on the south side. South Kedzie, South 87th Street. Well, south side of East 87th Street. It was south, though. Welcome, folks, to Classic Blues and R&B. We're glad that you could join us here. The greatest show on earth. The greatest show, especially on Saturday night, Sunday morning. We're here. We got a great guest for us tonight, folks. We got a man with a lot of history, a lot of musical history. He is a gator from down in Pensacola there, Florida. His name is Mr. Willie Henderson. He got his daughter over here, Symphony. They're here with us. How you doing, bro, Willie?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you, man.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's my honor, and I mean that. It's an honor to have you up in here. You know, you are the first groove on some of those records, man, yeah. So how you been? Tell the folks a little bit about you there.
Well, basically, I'm a record producer, a baritone saxophonist from Pensacola, Florida. I came up here, met Alvin Cash with Twine Time and all of that. And he introduced me to the record scene. I started off as being a band leader.
Mm-hmm. What band did you lead?
Well, it was called the Metrotones when I was with Alvin. But I started playing the baritone when I was at Wendell Phillips High School.
Okay.
The baritone player graduated, and at the end of the night, the music director, he said, look, I want you to come and go to summer school, to go to Hyde Park over the summer and come and be in the jazz band next year. So then Mr. Whitworth was his name. Mm-hmm. And when I left there, I went to Crane Junior College and studied under James Mack, who was a great musician.
Yeah, Crane produced a lot of good musicians out from over there, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you say you're a record producer. With some of the songs, some of the artists or records you've produced?
Well, Tyrone Davis, Otis Lavelle, Seal Johnson. I worked on Sock It To Me, and a lot of different ones. I can't recall all the names right now. We did Little Lester Phillips, King Curtis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a bunch.
Yeah, well, we're going to be playing some of your productions here that you've worked on and produced and played on and all that stuff. We'll be playing them throughout the show tonight. That's a good thing. So you got an event coming up, too.
Right.
Well, what is it about? It's
called A Night at the Cotton Club.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, My band opened the original Cotton Club here in Chicago, and people really they like that music, the Duke Ellingtons and all of that kind of stuff, and so we decided we would just take it to another venue and do it live with the dancing and the Ellington jazz and the Count Basie, all of that kind of stuff. That's what we plan to do with it.
Okay, and it's going to be the 4758 South Pulaski, huh?
Right.
And that's on the 24th.
We're going to have big fun. Going to have some fun.
Yeah, so it's going to be your Willie Henderson big band, huh?
Yeah, the Big Bad Blues Band.
Yeah. You're going to be honoring some folks there that night.
Yeah, we're going to honor the Scott brothers, Seal Johnson, Cicero Blake, from the West Side. What is his name? George Freeman, who's a jazz guitarist. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Ellis, who's a jazz saxophonist.
Right.
Red Hope, who he went all across the world playing soulful strut.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be a nice show.
Mm-hmm. And this you call it the Keeper of the Sound Award,
right?
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, basically, just to honor musicians here and nationally that really promoted the black music culture, So that's basically what it is. Although some white people are in it too, I got Dick Sherman. He loved Otis Rush, who I worked with for years. Mm. And when I was a kid growing up, I started working with Otis Rush.
Yeah. Okay, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get into the show here. We're going to play some music. Are you ready? Excuse me. Are you ready over there, Big Shot? I didn't hear you then, Big Shot. Why you turn your mic off, man?
Born ready.
Boy, I'm sorry, too. I said, did I mention the lovely Symphony? Did I mention you, Symphony? Anyway, his daughter, Symphony, is here. Yeah. Symphony, folks. Remember that, I hear a symphony. That'd be nice, sweet music.
Some people think we don't have the right to say it's my country. Before they give in, they'd rather fuss and fight than say it's my country. I've paid 300 years or more of slave driving sweat and welts on my back. This is my country. Too many have died in protecting my pride for me to go second class. We've survived the hard blow, and I want you to know that you'll face us at last. And I know you will give consideration. Shall we perish unjust or live equal as a nation? This is my country. And I know you will give consideration. Shall we perish unjust or live equal as a nation? This is my country.
I was telling my guest here about Gabriel Brown. He's a Floridian too. He's a graduate. He's a rattler. He graduated from Florida A&M down there, and he said the first time that he got recorded, he performed in 1934 at the first National Folk Festival in St. Louis. He was musically, listen at this, folks, discovered by folklorist Zora Neale Hurston. And she enlisted Alan Lomax to record Brown for the Library of Congress in 1935. So now he is, whether y'all not, you've probably seen him, but you go to Cracker Barrel, you've seen him. He's a guitar player. He left Florida and went to New York, and he did a lot of WPA work. You know, so they say he drowned at the age of 70. He died at 61, 62 in 1972. They say he drowned in a boating accident, you know. But that's a man, I was looking at that. I gone to Cracker Barrel a couple of times. Who the devil is this gentleman? So, you know, found out who he was, you know. So I said, yeah, let me play his music. Good music. That's not all the cut I got here. All right, Brother Henderson.
Yes, sir.
Tell us more about you. Now, I just heard two of your songs there. Which one of those artists, how did you feel with both those artists? They were two great artists you enjoyed working with?
Well, Curtis, like I said before, he stayed right down the street from me.
Okay.
And we were on 18th in Indiana.
Okay.
And he was in the I think it was the 5th grade with my sister,
okay,
Betty. And throughout the years, I did one session with him. And that was short. It was in the movie Short Eyes, and of course I don't know the name of the tune, you know, but he was very soft spoken. Oh yeah, one time he came up to my house, and we were youngsters, and I was sitting in the dining room tracing. You know how you trace these comic book characters, and he came up with his guitar. You know, and he said, "Well, how you doing?" I said, "Well, don't bother me. Can't you see I'm tracing?" You know, so he went in the front room. I think he really came up to see my sister. Daddy. You know, I said, "Can't you see I'm tracing?" You know, and you got your guitar. You know, he went in the front room and started playing. You know, that was one incident I ever occurred to.
Yeah. Now, Little Milton, tell me about that session.
Well, Little Milton, you know, me and my friend Tommy Reedus, Little Milton was playing at a club. It was upstairs, like an Elks Hall or something like that. And we went up, we saw him. And I reminded Milton when he was doing this benefit, we were doing this for this little girl. And he swore up and down it wasn't him. No, that wasn't me. You know, he was kind of arrogant at sometimes, you know, especially when you was going against what he was talking about. But he was a great guy. Artie White and him was like brothers. Artie would have the same kind of coat, you know, they all had the mink coats and all of that kind of stuff. And Tyrone Davis, they were all like running partners. And Otis Clay, you know, all of those guys, they was like running partners.
Yeah, okay, now we also played a Betty Everett song of yours.
Oh, yeah, well, Shoop Shoop. That was the second thing we did with Betty. The first thing was You No Good, which was a big hit. And basically, we were all in Crane Junior College at the time. Don Myrick, Louis Satterfield, Maurice White, who eventually did Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Satterfield and Don Myrick, they formed the Phoenix Horns. You know, and they started, and I did a session with Maurice years ago down at Universal, and they were eventually they left, they split up. You know, the Phoenix Horns became the Pharaohs, and I think it was Maurice was still with them at that time, and then they started playing together, the Phoenix Horns and Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know. and then they separated. But we all came together under the tutelage of James Mack, who was a great musician. And in fact, if you didn't have lunch money sometimes, he would give you lunch money. If you missed your homework, he would punch you. Mm-hmm. He's just one of those kind of guys, Yeah. And George Patterson, who had the Midnight Movers for Wilson Pickett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was there with us, and Tom Washington, who did a lot of the arrangements for Earth, Wind and Fire, and Tyrone Davis and Gene Chandler, just little Lester Phillips, In fact, he's still writing. In fact, he's working on some stuff for me now for this affair that we're doing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mm. Now, you mentioned Donna Hathaway, too, while we was here talking.
Yeah.
What kind of guy was he?
Donnie was very talented, great pianist, And we did this Christmas song, This Christmas. And what's his name? Guitar player. I'll think of it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we did this, and for a long time, I used to think we did it at RCA over at the lake near the Lake Michigan, but it turns out that we did it at another studio that was closer to State Street. I can't think of all these names.
I know that. When you mentioned this stuff, like I was telling your daughter, I said, people are crazy. I mean, they destroyed everything. I mean, you're right. There was so many studios around here.
Yeah.
So you forget a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we did a lot of sessions at RCA, like we did "Sock It to Me" and "Different Strokes" with different folks with Seal Johnson.
Yeah.
We did that over at the old RCA building.
Mm. Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you another question about another artist that you had worked. You worked with Little Richard too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was a character. That's all I can say. He always called me Mr. Henderson. Him and another guy, Wilbur Hi-Fi White.
Yeah.
He always called me Mr. Henderson. Well, anyway, I wrote this song for him, Soul Train, and we did that, and I arranged it and everything. And Can You Count on Me was the B-side. Mm. But the only thing, and they pressed it and released the record. But one day we were in the office, and Little Richard was on the phone cussing out the boss of Brunswick. He was cussing him from A to Z, and that was the end of that, basically. Mm. But he was very temperamental, but he was all right. He was all right with me.
They tell me he moved out to Nashville. He's living down. I heard he's living in Nashville.
Oh, I don't know what.
No, that's what. No, someone with some good knowledge. They say he's living in Nashville. I thought he was still in California. Out west somewhere. I didn't know where.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's back in the ministry.
Well, yeah, that could be.
Yeah, I think he's back in the ministry. Yeah. What studio did you enjoy working for? You have a particular one that you cared about?
I did most of my work at Universal. Mm-hmm. That was down on Walton Street on the north side, and they had everything. Yeah. All the technical stuff.
Oh, yeah. When you speak of Universal, man, I'm telling you, they own everything.
Yeah, but
they own everything.
I don't know if they were connected with the Universal Studios like
that. Yeah, they are. They got everything today. They got everything. They got moved. Comcast bought it, and so I retired from NBC, General Electric.
Okay.
And so I know that all of that music, man. And they just had a big disaster out there in California, some fire or something, wiped out a lot of stuff there, supposedly.
Yeah.
So that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Yeah. Oh yeah, they own. I mean, that Vivendi and all that stuff. When they bought that, you and I, man, it's they got everything, almost everything. Yeah. Now, did you do the work at Chess?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Little Milton is with Chess.
Little
those
Milton
guys,
and the Radiance.
Yeah.
We even did it. We did a thing on Middick Higher. I can't think of the name of it. And we did Summertime with what's the boy?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah. I know it.
Well, I'm telling you, getting old is really
Stewart, Billy
Stewart.
Yeah.
Well, stuff just slips off your brain.
Well, no, it don't mean it's slipping out. That means you got a lot in there. You got to go back down and dig it up and bring it back up.
Yeah, Billy Stewart. Now, he was a character. Him and Louis Satterfield, we was in the practice room, and they would be signifying and laughing and joking. He was really a lot of fun. And I met him when I worked at Apollo. Billy was on the same stage, and he wrote on my, they give you pictures at the end of the night. You purchase them. He said, "My man Rodan." He was something else.
Yeah. Speaking of Satterfield, man, I had him on my television show.
Oh,
yeah. I'm telling you, I was glad I had. Because I think he was thinking about moving back. He was moving back. He moved back. Yeah, because he was talking about doing a studio over on Michigan Avenue.
That's right, 44th, I think.
Right,
45th, something
I
like
never
that.
know what happened. Somebody asked me. I said, I don't know what happened to the studio.
They broke in it, and then Sat died.
Right.
Sure,
yeah.
So, and I didn't hear anything else about it.
Yeah. When you mentioned him, yeah. Wearing that little funny hat. I got him on. He's on my YouTube channel. Check it out.
Sat was a great musician.
Oh, yeah.
He played bass. He taught the bass player with Earth, Wind and Fire how to play bass. And he could play trombone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were always talking. He would write me from wherever he was and have the L-U-I, the Lulu. So he was a great guy. And Donald Myrick. Yeah. They were the Phoenix Horns.
Yeah. The Right Honorable Louis Willie Henderson here as we continue to roll here on Classic Blues and R&B on WVON 1690 AM. Hey, D'Angelo, I want you to pass the basket here and collect from my guest who's here in the studio, okay? We got to take up a collection, man. Hey, and we want a soft collection. We don't want no jingling unless they some Susan B. Anthony's Sacagawea or something. We don't mind that, if some gold pieces and all that stuff here. Hope you enjoyed it here, folks. We got a studio guest. I'm enjoying his company and his daughter, Miss Symphony and Mr. Willie Henderson, a great reed man. Should I call you a reed man?
Well, yeah, you can.
A great reed man. He's played with some of the best, folks. He played with some of the best, produced a lot of the best. The producer and writer of music. You've heard a lot of his music. In fact, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play one of his artists right now. But Tyrone, what you got? What you want by Tyrone? What I got by Tyrone? What's your Tyrone or Jackie Wilson? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
All right, either one of them would do, huh?
You got My Love Is Real. Our Love Is Real by Jackie Wilson.
So talk more about you, Mr. Henderson. Talk about more about you. More about your period in this musical industry. You are also a publisher, right?
Yeah. I've published quite a few songs.
Mm-hmm.
The Funky Chicken.
Okay.
I was with Playboy Records. The Gangsta Boogie Bump. We did the Ollie Shuffle with Alvin Cash.
Okay.
And still getting royalties from that.
Okay.
From overseas.
Okay.
And quite a few things. But there's a lot of stuff I'm not getting paid for.
Yeah, I got that. Now, you your own manager when you booking stuff for yourself? Well,
yeah, you get a phone call. Hey, man, you want to go over here or go over there? Because I went to Russia and Turkey with Syl Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically a blues kind of a situation, but and soul,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of traveling. Then I went to Japan with Otis Clay.
Yeah.
Then I went to Norway at a place called Hell. That was the name of it. you know, and they had big signs that said, "Welcome to hell," you know. Said, oh man, and they relished that, you know. That, hey, but it was a nice show with Sugar Pie DeSanto. She was the leader on that.
Yeah, and you played quite a bit with Etta James, right?
I did this one tune, "Tell Mama."
Oh, okay.
Now, I remember they did the track in most of the shows, I think. But when I was listening to it, I was hearing through the headphones, so I guess the track was already done. Mm-hmm. So I overdubbed baritone sax on it, you know.
Okay. What are you speaking of muscle show? What are your thoughts on a lot of folks don't realize.
They're all white.
Yeah, they don't realize what was going on, but they made great because the sound was great.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you hear Aretha singing that doggone thing. Nobody.
Oh, when Aretha got on the piano, that was it.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of brothers and sisters recorded out of there.
Yeah. I never went down there, but on TV I would see them.
Yeah,
and then it was Lily White rhythm section.
Yeah,
you know. But they sounded real good.
They sounded real soulful, real soulful. And, you know, maybe because they Southern boys, you know. They ain't been around a lot of it, maybe, you know. Because I understand when, I can't think of the joker's name, who came out of New York, and he changed everything around, kind of messed it up for him. You know, I think they kind of got out of, they realized that, wait a minute, it ain't about just talent.
Mm-hmm.
These guys got another agenda, you know. And I can't think of his name now, but he's been a producer for a long time around. Cause did a lot of stuff with Atlantic, you know.
Oh yeah, I mastered a tune over at Atlantic. I think it's 1841 Broadway, and it was a nice studio. It was a nice studio.
Yeah, they had a lot of good talent coming out there. Ray Charles, Reith, and all them back then. They had a lot of drifters and all of that stuff.
Well, Ray Charles kind of like put them on the map, from what I understand.
Yeah, they did.
And then Wilson Pickett, my boy George Patterson, he was the leader of the Midnight Movers, which was his band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and George came out of Crane Junior College too. We were all there together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Mr. Mack's first semester there, and my teacher and Mr. Mack, I guess, they knew each other from the Army. So he sent me over there. He said, well, I want you to go over there and join. And I said, I just got up and went, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was Satterfield, Don Myrick, George Patterson was in high school. He was like in the 8th grade, but he would come down to big band practice, you know. And Tom Washington.
Right.
They formed a group called the Jazz Interpreters. Satterfield and Don Myrick had the Jazz Men. I had a group called the Metrotones, but my group was the only one really making any money because we were playing blues and everything. We was with Alvin Cash, and Alvin was such a character. He would take you into a club and tell us whoever was on stage, get on. I got some real musicians. You know, he was just he was a terrible guy. But
I heard things about Al. You know,
Alvin was a wonderful guy.
Yeah, you enjoyed working with him, though.
Oh yeah.
He was.
He had some little brothers. He had some little brothers who could dance. They called the Little Steps. Oh man, they were something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there used to be some real shows put on around here.
Right.
You know, I mean, real shows. You know, that's why I was thinking about when you think about a cabaret. You know, you bring your own liquor, put on these, shows, and just have a good time. You know, you got a great band there playing all the music, singing. You know, 2 or 3 different acts come on, comedian and all that stuff. I mean, it was real good entertainment.
I worked a big band at the club, the Lisa, which was on like 55th and State Street.
Right,
it's not there anymore.
Right.
And the stage would go up and down, and they had a chorus line, and comedians, and, and Seal Johnson was one of the stars there.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Seal's been around a way, done some good stuff, you know, and all of a sudden, he stopped recording. He hadn't recorded for a while, right?
No, well, his daughter Selena, we did a couple of tracks on her.
Okay.
You know. Well, Seal, we're going to honor him at the night at the Cotton Club. We're going to give him the Keeper of the Sound Award.
Yeah.
You know.
And you said the Scott brothers, right?
The Scott brothers, yeah. Butch Scott. Well, his name is Howard.
Hollywood.
Howard Scott
Okay.
is the bass player.
Right.
Walter Scott is the guitar player. But Hollywood it was the leader of Platinum, which was with Tyrone Davis.
Right, Tyrone, yeah.
You know, we're going to honor him.
That's good.
In fact, I'm going to honor the whole group of Platinum.
Yeah. How long you got this Keeper the Sound been around?
Well, I started, I think our first thing was in 83.
Okay.
And we did it downtown. And for a while it worked, but then things was happening, so I couldn't do it. But I started collecting toys for children every year. So that kept me like in the mix. So last year I decided to go ahead and try to do it again, but this time we're going to really get into trying to get to the point that we can help children put music back into the schools.
Yeah.
You know, like I started at Wendell Phillips. If I hadn't been to Wendell Phillips, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
you know, not as a musician.
I got you. Yeah. Now, who all involved with your group? With some of the people, you know, the board of directors or whatever. I don't know.
Well,
how you got it structured?
Well, my old board of directors was Purvis Band.
Okay.
They had Murray, who was with Universal Studios.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had Dr. James Mack, not Mr. Mack, but Dr. James Mack. He was a reverend. You know, I had a bunch of people that was qualified, but between that time and this time, it's just basically me and my daughter Roscoe Foreman, who's an attorney, Linda Minch, who's an attorney.
Okay.
You know, so and I haven't had a formalized board because I'm trying to go next year when I do it. It's going to be much better than this year, and this year is going to be fantastic. Mm-hmm.
right, there you just heard the funky chicken by our studio guest here, Mr. Willie Henderson and Jackie Wilson. Love Vibration, all here on Classic Blues and R&B. Jackie Wilson and, of course, the funky chicken. It was taken care of and produced or whatever he did to it. He did something to it. I don't know what he did to it, but he did it. So what you do to those songs?
Just kind of put it together.
Put it together. Yeah. You I guess soon you enjoy both. You enjoy producing or playing.
Well, yeah. When the opportunity presents itself, you know, it looks like it could go further. Yeah, and I can do it. I was with Playboy Records when I did that.
Funky Chicken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with Hillary Johnson, he was he was in charge of the rhythm and blues section of Playboy Records. Mm-hmm. You know, and I used some good guys here in town. And I had to do everything like out of my pocket at first, like with the Dance Master. I had a tune called the Dance Master.
Okay.
And we did the Dance Master in Chicago, and we kind of I had a whole bunch of them, and it was distributed out of a guy. I think it was in New Jersey or somewhere. And I was at Brunswick one day, and I got this call and said, "Hey man, like I'm whoever he said he was." He said, "Do you have any of the Dance Master?" I said, "Yeah, I got a whole garage full of them, you know." So he helped me, and I got a deal with an overseas deal with a record company called Contempo. Yeah. Mm. But getting back to the Funky Chicken, it was just an offshoot of my man
Rufus
Thomas, and it was a hot dance at the time. Yeah. So I was just fortunate to be able to capitalize on it.
Yeah. Who are some of those guys on there with you on that record?
Well, Tyez Palmer was I think, the bass player, either him on that one or the Dance Master. I got to get them so many different musicians.
I got you.
You know, and I use all top flight cats. I can't remember all the names right now. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. But give me a little time when the program comes back around. I said, "Oh, that's."
Write it down and send it to me. Yeah. I mean, you had a lot of fun playing a lot of that, the music, right? That you
oh
played.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. With this tune, I did the Loose Booty, mm-hmm. which was done by the Beastie Boys. They sampled it. My engineer was a guy named Bruce Swedeen.
Okay.
And Bruce was the engineer for Michael Jackson when he did Thriller and all of that and stuff for Quincy Jones. You know, he sent me a picture of him and his wife on his yacht that he's got. You know, he's real funny, but Bruce made a lot of money on Thriller because he had a percentage.
Yeah.
You know, well, what, 1 or 2 cents, whatever.
That's all right if you have 1-2% of millions is money.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, Bruce, he was something else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now when you're speaking of that, yeah, the business of music, you pretty adept at that part of it. I mean, it seems like you are the business of music. You know.
Well, yeah, I learned the hard way. You know. The guy comes to me, one of the kids in the neighborhood said, "You know, I heard your record on the internet." You know, I said, "Well, what is the internet?" I didn't even know what the internet was. You know, he said it's all over there. You know, yeah. And I finally got to the internet. They were selling my tunes for like $80, $90 and stuff like that. I'm saying, man, I'm not getting a penny from this stuff. You know, it's really weird. You know.
Everybody was eating good but you.
Huh? Everybody, yeah. And I fixed the meal.
Bought the grocery and everything.
Yeah, it was something else.
Yeah.
But you learn the business. Mm-hmm. And I got books of songs now that I said, okay, I'm right the opportunity. I'm just go ahead and get it out there. Maybe I can find me some white acts that get with a major company. Mm-hmm. You know. So, because I really got some good songs, I believe.
Yeah. That's the thing, you try to do, you do things in a certain way with a certain thought in mind. You take a song, you say, okay, Ella James would do this better, or Gladys Knight would do this better. Mm-hmm. Now, then you say, well, maybe Barbra Streisand can do it. Mm-hmm. To me, ain't nothing wrong with that, And I think for a while, I think there was some guys did, because they talk about Elvis Presley or Pat Boone, how they made more off certain songs.
Yeah.
But hell, if I own it, I don't care who's doing it.
No, just go ahead.
Right, you do it.
As long as you got the copyright, you got your business straight on it. Then it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Get the more the merrier. Like you said, the Beastie Boys sample it, let them sample it.
Yeah. Well, I met them, and the leader of the Beastie Boys, well, he later died. Mm-hmm. But he said, man, I'm glad you didn't put any, basically saying pressure on me for not cutting you. They made a whole record from what I was doing. They call it Professor Booty. But they didn't give me no credit on that. But as a songwriter for Warner Brothers, they send me a check all the time, so it wasn't that bad. Uh-huh. But I probably could get much more money. Yeah. But you live and you learn.
Yeah. Because you own the whole thing, right? I mean, you really did everything to it, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to, he was on my show at one time, Dr. Root Music. It used to be known as Roy Hightower.
Oh, yeah, I know Roy.
Roy taking the devil out of me. He had this song, Fugitive, nice song, Mm-hmm. So he say that he heard the song and he looked, the publishing and all that. He said there was Isaac Hayes and another guy who was down in Memphis, but his name was left off. So he hit BMI and all of and they told him, he said, look here, how was that listed? And then his name was on there, but it was not listed on the record label. He said they told him, it would have been a little bit too expensive to redo the label, And then he said, when he did it then, he said, you get a third, I get a third, and he get a third,
Yeah,
but he was able to get something, something.
Well, yeah, he was fortunate to be able to get any money.
Yeah. As here it is, you think, a lot of, guys like, Isaac Hayes or Quincy Jones, do you ever work with him, Quincy? I mean, he's a Chicago boy. Did you ever do any work with him?
No, I never did anything with him. Mm-hmm. And he's from the South Side.
Yeah. Right out here with you guys, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, we're going to continue to roll right along and with our guest here, Mr. Willie Gator. Yeah, I mean, Florida's a Gator state, You go down there, telling you might have a gator. In fact, Luke Campbell posted a picture the other day on Twitter. It was an alligator coming out of, the swamp or whatever, crossing the highway there. And I think he had something in his mouth. I'm not sure if it was a snake or whatever it is. And here these ducks, birds and stuff, right, walking right along with him. And he said, yeah, we're real predators down here. So, yeah, that's what gators are down there, But, of course, he's a good part of it. He's up northwest Florida. Yeah, northwest Florida.
That's like Pensacola.
Yeah, so therefore, you might not get as much as you would when you get down there in the swamp.
Close to Mobile.
Yeah. So you might not get as much, but you got it down there, You're listening to Classic Blues and R&B here on WVON 1690 AM. All right, folks, as we get ready to roll into the station, we'll be rolling into the station in about 55 minutes. The trip will be over for this week, but I guarantee you, as your conductor, I'll be back next week to deliver some more goods, This is Classic Blues and R&B. Sir Henry Cheatham here, the old Magnolia Blues man, is putting it down here for you, along with my Wolverine, my young friend over there, Mr. D'Angelo Thompson. He's over there turning the dials, keeping everything up and running over there for us. Our studio guest is the one and only, the Honorable Willie Lee Henderson. What's your middle? You got a middle name?
Edward.
Oh, I knew it wasn't going to just be Willie. Willie Edwards.
Henderson Jr.
Oh, Kenny Jr. So you had to add it all there. You're the junior.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any your brothers and sisters in the music?
No.
You're the only one, huh?
I'm the only one.
Okay, yeah. Tampa Red. Somebody was telling me they were from Tampa. Who the devil was that? Oh, it was a young lady I met today at this restaurant. She was from Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. She's going to Northwestern University, right? Tampa. But yeah, Tampa Red. That's another old Florida boy. Very good music. You familiar with Tampa Red?
No, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
The only other guy from Pensacola had a tune called "You're My Puppet."
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was two guys.
A guy, I think it was a guy and a girl. Was it? I
No,
know you're talking
guys.
about.
Yeah.
Well, just two guys. Yeah.
You're my puppet.
Yeah, I know you're talking. What the hell is it? No, I'm like you now. You know, some of these things, you know, they just move on away from you. There, you got to go back and get it. Anyway, we ain't gonna worry about it. We're gonna figure that out later on.
Stay gone so long. But now 5 weeks have ended, and I just realized that I did you wrong. But just think, y'all, I thought I was a big thing, but apparently she thought not. There must be something that I'm missing. Or is it something that she's got? Oh, babe, what is that you got now, babe? Oh, I thought I had your mind right, 'cause this is what you led me to believe. Oh, but now I'm the one who's uptight, and baby, I'm the one who's got to please. But just think, y'all, I thought I was a big thing, but apparently she thought not. There must be something that I'm missing. Or is it something that she's got? Oh, babe, what is that you got now, babe? Oh, your sweet loving, baby, it's oh so devastating to a man. Oh, but just like black magic, babe, I'm no fool, but I couldn't understand. But just think, y'all, I thought I was a big thing, but apparently she thought not. There must be something that I'm missing. Or is it something that she's got? Oh, babe, what is that you got now? It makes me wanna cry, baby. Baby, I love you. Oh, baby, oh, baby,
Professor, what's another word for pirate treasure?
Well, I think it's booty. That's what it is.
She's doing a dance, she's doing a loop-de-loop. She's doing a dance, she's doing a loop-de-loop.
Moves her hips, round and round. Too sexy and bad to ever come to town. Then she went way back and never did.
Yeah, you hear that great music there. And you just heard great music of our studio guest, Mr. Willie. Saxophone, not trombone, baritone saxophone. Henderson here on Classic Blues. Etta James, Tell Mama. And you also heard Loose Booty by Brother Willie here on Classic Blues and R&B as we're getting ready to let our guest go, you know. He said he's tired of me. I said, well, that's all right. I'm tired of you too. But but anyway, Mr. Dixon, tell us about those two songs, sir. Henderson, tell us about those two songs.
Well, basically like Something You Got, Jimmy Tillman's playing drums on that. And the group that we recorded, Can I Change My Mind, they're basically on this. And they were called The Pieces of Peace. You got Michael Romley Davis, who with Earth, Wind, and Fire, Steve Hawkins, and it's just Mighty Joe Young. You know, we were with Joe with Otis Rush. So when I got the gig at Brunswick, which, do you know Andre Williams?
Not offhand.
Well, Andre hired me to go to Brunswick because he was going to work. He said, man, I want you to go and watch my back. Like, what kind of watching can I do? So he ended up leaving, and I stayed there. You know. So Bernard Reed was one of the bass players with Pieces of Peace, and he was on that. And but it turned out well, very well.
Yeah, it's a good sound. I forgot about Tyrone on that last segment. Yeah, it was Tyrone. Yeah. How do you enjoy working at Brunswick? How was it for you?
It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a learning situation, dealing with people that haven't dealt with before. They were just different, but they were good. Carl Davis was I learned a lot from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in the studio an awful lot. I took a lot of the weight from him, but I learned while I was doing it. You know, worked with different engineers down there at Universal, and it turned out to be quite well.
Yeah, you mentioned Carl Davis. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Carl was quiet. We call him a Virgo, as they say. He was a thinker, you know. and he would put things together, and he was very organized, you know. In fact, when I did Can I Change My Mind, I was in the back, and he came and said, man, I got this guy, Tyrone Davis, and I want you to take him in the studio. And Tyrone had this track, Can I Change My Mind, but it was Monk Higgins who did it with strings, you know, and it didn't sell at all. So I put the horns and stuff on it, and there's a guitar player who has a great technical technique called Carl Woolfolk was his name, and he played all them funny figures on the guitar, which baffled a lot of guitar players because he had it in cross Spanish.
Okay.
That's how he had his guitar, in cross Spanish, you know. So, but Carl was a great guy. Of course, you didn't get. I had 2 gold records with Tyrone, but I didn't get gold record money. But that's another trip.
What kind of money you get? Civil record money? Copper money?
Copper. A few pennies. Yeah. But it was all right. I learned a lot.
Now, Jackie Wilson was there at that time, right? Or was he not at Brunswick with you?
Yeah, Jackie came through. See, I was the music director for Brunswick. So everybody come through. I was like contracting the musicians, and all the Shy stuff, the artistics. My name is on it as being the musical director, and then when I wrote something, I was the music director and the arranger, and then the music director and the producer. Like I did Major Lance, Follow the Leader. I wrote that. So in the different, like I had a lot of different functions down there, you know. So and like I said, it was a good learning experience.
So you learned quite a bit about the music industry then.
Oh yeah. And I was able to bring a couple of my friends in, like Mr. Mack, James Mack. He came in and he did some arrangements for Tyrone, and of course Thomas Tom Washington, which is a great arranger.
Yeah.
You know, he had his own flavor, and we were able to do some great projects together.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of good things about Tom, you know, as far as an arranger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You guys been together a while, too, huh?
Oh, yeah, since...
high school?
Well, no, grammar school.
You know,
I mean, not grammar school,
junior
college, yeah.
It's a good thing, you know. So what you got in the mix coming up?
Well, I'm just writing. I'm doing this project, you know, and I want to get music back in the schools, and I want to promote black music culture, you know, because we create all of this music, but we're not getting credit for a lot of it. You know, other people are taking credit for things that we do, you know. So that's what I'm trying to do, and well, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, you know. So this is just a project. This year's going to be great, but next year's going to even be greater. You know.
Are you getting much support for this project to put school music back in the school?
Well, I'm just getting the idea out there, and I've been working with an attorney, Roscoe Foreman, and Linda Mitch, you know. And we're kind of putting it out, getting the music community together, you know, so they recognize where I'm coming from. Because, like DuSable, I don't know if they got a band program or not there. But I know a lot of these black schools don't have music.
I know it.
You know, and that's terrible. Right. You know, and that's one of the reasons. If you take away football, basketball, music, then you're going to have violence. I mean kids don't have nothing to do, you know. So you need to just keep them busy, keep them interested in something, you know.
Yeah. I remember the late Oscar Brown Jr. I was talking to him, and I said, you know, this rap crap, you know. And he brought it to my attention. He said, Brother Cheatham, I said, you know how he talks, you know. He said, well, you know, it's not the kids' fault. He said, they took music out of the school. I forgot about that, you know. When I came through, hey, hell, I mean, a kid just show up, he got a uniform, he got an instrument, some kind of way, you know, and we had some great bands, you know, during my time. High school had a marching band, you know. And I realized, I said, yeah, I played football. I say it didn't cost me a penny for my outfit. And then kids today have to pay for a lot of stuff. You know?
It's pitiful.
So it became a business. So I understand what you're talking about. Anything I can do to try to help, because that's, you got my support on it,
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
I want to thank you for coming by, you and your daughter, your cook, Symphony, for showing up here, and I'm enjoying it. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining our podcast here on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us at Henry CB 6175. Follow us on Twitter at WVON Henry, and like our Facebook page at Classic Blues and R&B.